this, let's take a look at the motion blur. For the example, I animated the chair using a path. That means this chair simply moves along this path. I did the whole thing over 1 second. I implemented it by simply using a line to spline under the animation tags. Now I'm going to go about halfway in my timeline, approximately at 12 seconds. And now I'm going to activate the motion blur. Then I'm going to bring up my render window. So when I start the rendering here, we don't see anything of our motion blur. Even if I switch directly to bucket rendering, we still don't see anything of the motion blur. We only see the motion blur in the final rendering. So when I render the whole image under render to picture view, we can see the motion blur in this rendering. So we don't have to open the picture view every time. We can also do the whole thing directly in the render view by simply clicking on this button on the left, as I already mentioned briefly in a previous film. And as soon as we press it, the image is also rendered directly final in the render view. Interactive rendering via IPR rendering is automatically deactivated. And if we want to render it again, we simply have to press it again each time. Now we have a few parameters here. If I expand it briefly, actually one parameter, steps, then it stands at 2 by default. Then we have Deformation Blur. And now to understand better this parameter, steps, I would like to switch the mode from basic to advanced, because here we have further settings for the motion blur. So I press it again and then we go directly to the motion blur tab. Then I can see the same values here under the shutter area, just like we saw them before under the basic mode. Here we have additional transformation steps in Deformation Blur, and we also have shutter. With this we can set how many frames should be considered for our motion blur. By default it's set to 1/60th, which is 1/60th of a second. We have animated 25 frames. That means we see approximately 1 frame from the middle point of our object center. That means 1 frame is calculated before the object and 1 frame after the object for the motion blur. Now we can work with it, but now we are making it a little easier for ourselves by simply going to custom. There we can directly determine the frames using a numeric value, how many frames should be calculated before and after for the motion blur. By default it's set also to 1. If I enter for example 10, then we would calculate 10 frames before the current frame and 10 frames after the current frame for the motion blur. Let's do a quick test to see it. We have to press the button for production rendering again. Then we see accordingly 10 frames before and 10 frames after. If I now set it to, for example, 25, then from the current point, let's say we are at frame 25, frame 12, we would calculate 25 frames before and 25 frames after for the motion blur. And thus we should actually see the complete animation in the motion blur. I'm starting the rendering. Let's see how it looks. Then we can already see that the whole thing takes longer. What is noticeable now is that the motion blur is completely straight, although our animation actually describes an arc. And this is where the transformation steps parameter comes into play. This parameter describes, so to speak, the accuracy of the animation, the motion path. So the higher I set it, the more precisely the path is traced for the motion blur. If I now, for example, use 3, we can already see that if I render the whole thing now, the path is simply tracked better and more accurately. So then we can see already it's a bit jagged now. It doesn't describe our nice clean curve. That means to achieve a nice motion blur now, we would actually have to use a higher value, let's say 4 for example, and render the whole thing. Then our path should be better represented now. As we can see, the path is now accurately rendered. However, we need to consider that the higher we set this value, the more memory it will be consumed, and it will also be more computationally intensive. And that's the transformation steps parameter. Now let's switch back to basic mode. Now we have another parameter here, which is Deformation Blur, which is relatively straightforward. I have added another object, a cube, and placed it next to the chair. I will quickly enable it, and it simply has a bend deformer applied to it, which is also animated. The animation lasts for 1 second, where the cube is bent downward. Let's render it again. I will click the rendering button. Now, as we can see, we don't see any motion blur. However, once we activate Deformation Blur, the motion blur will also be calculated for this object. So Deformation Blur simply means that the geometry is considered for the motion blur when we work with deformers where the geometry is manipulated by other objects. That's all we need to know to work with this motion blur directly under the basic mode.